good. You can't even taste the cricket.
Or you can snack on them whole like chips.
Nope. No. No. Why? Why are people eating crickets? What the hell is wrong with this world? Okay, we got to talk about a couple of things here because the world is going bananas. Trump is in. Somehow he won. Well, I mean, phenomenally he won, but somehow Hitler, the modern day Hitler, won. And Joe Biden greets him at the White House with a big smile and a handshake, which is just crazy because is he Hitler or is he not Hitler? I guess it turns out that Trump is not Hitler and Trump is actually really good. Really, really good for not only the world, but America. So we're going to be talking about that right out the gate. And then we're going to talk about this weird investment that Canada made into a cricket. Oh, dude, this gives me goosebumps. Okay. Canada made, Trudeau made, not Canadians. Justin Trudeau made a $9 million investment into a edible cricket factory. It's so weird to say. It's so weird to say. And it turns out they're going a little bust. They are going bankrupt. They're firing people. It's not really having the results that they wanted. Who would have thought? And that $9 million kind of went to a massive amount of waste. And yeah, that whole conspiracy of you will own nothing and be happy and you will eat the bugs. You know, it's not a conspiracy. The difference between a conspiracy and the reality is, what do they say? Like 6 months, and now it's like 3 months. It's like getting shorter and shorter. This is crazy. This is bananas. It's actually happening here in Canada. So we got to talk about that. And then we're going to take a look at the NDP and crooked Jagmeet Singh and what he has to say about Trump being president. I know the video is a little bit scattered. I don't normally like to do that, but I got to throw in this cricket thing. I got to throw it in the middle of the video. It's so weird. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage y'all to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. Now, normally, I want everyone to watch the video start to end. Obviously, it's informative. There's a lot of stuff to cover. It helps grow the channel, right? I get that. But again, the layout is going to be Trump in the White House, crickets, Jagmeet Singh, and the NDP. So if you just want to like go and find your time slot or the cricket stuff, I don't blame you, but don't blame me. All right. Don't shoot the messenger because that is whack, and I do not consent to eating crickets. Nope. All right, let's start things off here with President Trump, or I guess Hitler, modern day Hitler, meeting Joe Biden, who seems to be pretty happy, as you're going to find out.
And it's, in many cases, not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
You're welcome.
Didn't seem that scary. Didn't seem that scary to be sitting next to big bad Trump.
A 2-hour tete-a-tete for the ages. Donald Trump returned to the White House this morning for a meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden. The White House says the pair discussed a number of issues like national security and domestic policy, and that Trump came with a list of specific questions. After the meeting, the former president continued naming people to his future cabinet. Here are the newest additions to that list. Senator Marco Rubio from Florida is nominated as Secretary of State. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will lead a newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Pete Hegseth gets the nomination for Defense Secretary. He's an Army vet as well as Fox News personality. And Tulsi Gabbard, who ran for the Democratic nomination back in 2020, becomes the Director of National Intelligence. Matt Gaetz, finally, very controversial congressman from Florida, becomes the Attorney General. So is Canada ready to work with Trump's new team, or what we know of it so far? Let's bring back the front bench.
No, I mean,
Carl Bellon.
Justin Trudeau is not prepared. Justin Trudeau is not prepared at all, but Canadians are absolutely ready for this Trump administration. All right, let's get into this.
This one giant troll, like let's troll everyone exercise. Like what's your take on this cabinet so far?
I like the Benzie one. That's pretty good. But these are Trump loyalists. And if you look at all of them, they pretty much all are talking about immigration. You asked the question in your intro there, is the Canadian government prepared to handle this government? I want to tell you a little bit of inside information that I've been hearing. And we know that the cabinet shuffle is coming soon because there are cabinet ministers that have stepped down. What I'm hearing is that Chrystia Freeland is going to reprise the role in foreign affairs probably. I'm going to add the word probably in there because you never know, things can change. And what wouldn't surprise me is that it would likely be wise for them to bring back and put together the team that helped renegotiate NAFTA back 2.0, so CUSMA. So these are the types of things I'm hearing. But I also know that Trump is not a fan of Freeland whatsoever. However, they are ready to go tete-a-tete with the Trump administration, especially when it comes to renegotiating the 3.0 CUSMA. So just keep an eye on that as we start to see the rumblings of how the Trudeau government is going to handle this. Because also one of the other things, if you look at all of these, I think all of them, these appointees, there are very few Canadian allies, or Trudeau allies, should I say, in the Trump appointees. They have all said harsh things about our prime minister.
Yeah, there's some good write-ups of certainly they're not his biggest fan. They're not. So there are some.
Trump is not a fan of the progressive liberals in Canada. Heck, Canadians aren't fans of the progressive liberals in Canada. Like this is bananas what Justin Trudeau and these liberals have done. Canada is quite literally the most progressive country in the entire world, and we are bordering the opposite of that. Now, a lot of Canadians, the majority of Canadians agree that we should probably be a little bit more like America. In fact, some people want to be a carbon copy of America. Some people want America to acquire Canada. I think that we should just be a little bit more like America, and I hope that Trump's victory gives the confidence of the conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to be a little bit more anti-woke and less progressive. Pierre's done a pretty good job so far, but just go a little bit more. Just shimmy on down a little bit more to the right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like Elise Stefanik, and who's going to be UN ambassador, who knows Canada very well. She chaired like an interparliamentary group on it. But to your point, yes, if you look through all their social media, they've said some pretty condemning things, I guess you could say, of the federal government in particular right now. Hannah brings up, Jamie, sort of the Canadian strategy, moving people around, trying to think back to the first round of negotiations, which, to give the government credit, went well for them. Is it smart strategically from where you sit, looking at the picks that we're seeing tonight, looking at kind of the movement on the Trump administration? Is it strategically smart to resurrect that way of doing things, or might there be something else necessary given what we are seeing?
I think it's going to effectively require an all-of-government overhaul in terms of how the Canada-U.S. relationship is managed. Obviously, when you look at what took place under the NAFTA renegotiation, it was very focused on trade and the trade deal and leveraged economic relationships, governor to premier relationships and the like to really move that thing forward and get it done. But I think what you're seeing from the Trump orbit so far since his election night is this is going to be essentially a White House that's far more belligerent and far less restrained by those who are around him. I think the picks you're seeing today show that the past 8 years were nothing more than an 8-year audition of The Apprentice to land in the second administration's secretary by proving their fealty to Donald Trump. And for Canada, it's also going to have to, of course, look at what a Canadian audience has to say to this and how they're judging their government and holding Canadians to account, because ultimately that is what's going to be at play. And so I think when you look at this from a Trudeau government standpoint, it's one thing to try and line up your roster and kind of play personality politics the way they did on trade. But I think what you're seeing and hearing from the Trump administration as they prepare for this transition far exceeds anything of what this team has had to deal with. Frankly, anyone has had to deal with. And so rerunning a tired playbook from 6 years ago or 8 years ago, I think is setting Canada up to fail.
I think that's a smart point.
I think that Canadians are sick and tired of just politics here in this country. It's dumb. Nothing really ever gets done. It's overly progressive, and Canadians just want to live their life. We don't want to be, I'm not going to put words in everyone's mouth, but I personally, I don't want to be this invested in politics, which is crazy because I have a lot of, pretty sizable YouTube channels that are literally around politics, but it's so emotionally exhausting and draining to just see our country go down the waste and economically, socially, culturally. It's horrible. I think a lot of people just want Canada to go back on track, be a little bit more boring, just get stuff done, make life better, make life cheaper, and that's it. And just plain and simple. I don't think people want to be turning on the news or turning on YouTube, opening up YouTube and seeing, new breaking news every day, every couple of days, every week, new controversies, new $9 million investment into a cricket factory that is now not going as the way they planned. Who would have thought that, that would backfire? Which is a perfect segue into this next story. So when you quite literally Google largest edible cricket factory, which is what I've done, you'll be brought to this AI, which is crazy. When did this happen? When did our Google searches get summarized by AI? That's new to me. But anyways, the Aspire Food Group facility in London, Ontario, is the world's largest cricket processing facility. 150,000 square feet, 12,000 metric tons of crickets annually. It gives the exact location, automated storage and retrieval, 24/7 monitoring. All right, there you go. So what's going on? Well, when I took to Reddit, I actually found this post. Trudeau's $9 million bet on edible crickets runs into trouble. And that brought me to the National Post. So we're going to read this article here. The world's largest cricket factory, funded in large part by federal monies, enters extended retooling. Already. Just 2 years after the Trudeau government put up nearly $9 million to help build the world's largest edible cricket factory, the facility is dramatically cutting staff and production in what they say is an extended retooling. Aspire Food Group, which cut the ribbon last year on this massive 150,000 square foot edible cricket factory in London, Ontario, has just laid off 2/3 of its workforce and significantly cut back shifts, saying they need to make some improvements to its manufacturing system. Now, if that were the case, I know someone who works in this field, in manufacturing system, repairs a lot of machinery, right? And no, you don't need to cut off 2/3 or 1/3 of your workforce to repair your manufacturing system. That's just not how that works. But okay, I guess we'll believe it until it goes completely bankrupt. Speaking to the trade publication, Aspire CEO David Rosenberg said the company will be running the production line 4 times a week instead of 2 shifts a day every day. We are 150 people down to 50, and we plan on hiring back up in July. This is despite very generous grants from the Trudeau government. In June of 2022, Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada announced a grant up to $8.5 million to build a commercial facility to produce cricket protein. What resulted was a factory built by Aspire as the world's largest cricket production factory. As per a CBC profile published at its grand opening, the factory was housed to 4 billion crickets at any one time. Oh my God, that gives me the goosebumps, man. And churn out 13 million kilograms of edible crickets each year. What the heck? No, what? Who? How is there that big of a demand for cricket protein? That's insane. Aspire's signature pitch, and one of the main reasons they've attracted federal government attention, is that crickets have there it is, lower environmental footprint than meat or dairy. The 2022 Government of Canada statement announcing the $8.5 million grant mentioned this several times. The subsidy would help Aspire produce high volumes of nutritious food with low environmental footprint. Man, they just want to cut corners every which way, and they don't care how they do it. This is craziness to me. Why are we even using cars by that logic? Turning on a car is causing tsunamis and forest fires, and eventually the world is just going to explode. So no matter what the weather, no matter what the distance, all people that are this progressive, that want to switch from meat and dairy protein to crickets, they should just walk to work. They should walk to work and never, ever turn on another vehicle in their entire life because reduce the carbon footprint. That's how dedicated they are. To the point where they want to eat crickets, they should have to walk to work forever. I mean, that's just insane. It's insanity to try to cut corners like that. And then, of course, there's that little clip that I showed in the intro. Let's take a look at this, man. This is crazy. Oh, it's gross.
It's good. You can't even taste the cricket.
Or you can snack on them whole like chips. This one is barbecue flavored.
Nope. Oh my God. All right, let's listen to this part. This is I don't know why they're trying to sell us on this.
Choice for food. Crickets actually contain more protein than beef without any of the environmental damage.
A lot of manufacturers and entrepreneurs were looking for safe.
No. Who wants this? This is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. Like, they're actually showing just crickets walking around. Ah! Why? I don't want that. I don't consent to that. And they better make sure that whenever they put this crap in food, that it's on the front, not buried in the ingredients. Because if I ever find out that I ate freaking crickets non-consensually, that's it. I'm going to write a strong worded letter and I'm going to write another petition to government. This is insane, people. This is insane. And this is why we need like common sense in this country. We need common sense leadership. We need a common sense government because people did not vote for this. Nobody is choosing to eat crickets. It's radical left-wing crazy nut jobs that are saying, hey, everybody, we found a way to make even crazier profits than meat or dairy. And all you got to do is just eat some bugs. It's like, it's pretty gross. It's pretty gross, but hey, it's better for you, especially on the money side, which you guys never see, but it's better for you. No, dude, no, absolutely not. I do not consent to that. I've shared my opinion. I would absolutely love to know your guys' opinion on that. And then we got to take a look at Jagmeet Singh. I know I started off with American stuff, and then we look at the crickets, and then we're going kind of back to the American stuff because Jagmeet's about to talk about Donald Trump's United States election win. But hey, c'est la vie. Sometimes this is how things go.
Canadians woke up today with a lot of folks really worried about Donald Trump's plans, which are going to hurt people, particularly his plans that he mentioned about across-the-board tariffs. Those are plans that are going to directly impact Canadian workers. It's going to mean a loss of jobs for Canadians. It's also going to mean that the cost of things are going to go up at a time when we're already facing unprecedented cost of living rises. So at a time like this, it is now the time to fight back, fight to protect Canadian jobs. We're going to defend Canadian interests. We got to fight to defend our values. That's what New Democrats are going to do.
In English, can you please clarify? Last time around, we saw a Team Canada approach that included bipartisan work in response to Donald Trump's first presidency. What are you expecting this time? Has the Liberal government asked you to take any role? And what do you want to see them do concretely to respond to Mr. Trump?
Well, I expect the Prime Minister will come out and state clearly that Donald Trump's plans are wrong. The fact that he has proposed an across-the-board tariff is wrong. That's going to jack up the price of everything. It's going to hurt workers in Canada, and it's going to hurt workers in the United States. It's going to mean increased costs for everybody. So I want to see the Prime Minister come out clearly and say that's wrong. That's a bad plan. That's going to hurt people.
Do you have national security concerns with transition to a Trump White House? Given the relationships we know some of the people around Donald Trump have to Vladimir Putin, are the national security considerations different now going forward?
Certainly. There's a lot of concerns. When I said that his plans are going to hurt people, I think about all the people that could be hurt. I think about Ukraine and Trump administration's approach to Ukraine. I think about Gaza.
Yeah, cut the funding. Okay, man, I don't understand this. Like Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau, they're trying to appeal to like these anxiety-induced and anxiety-driven adults that have the ability to vote, that have the emotional intelligence of a juice box water bottle thingy, right? People that are just like freaked out at the fact that somebody's about to fix the economy But because the media has been labeling him as this monster, they just automatically believe it. Like these people are dumb. He's pandering to dumb people. And I don't understand how anybody can support Jagmeet Singh. He's literally the worst politician of them all in Canada. I hate to say it, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but Jagmeet Singh is willingly choosing to hold over 41 plus million Canadians hostage to a government that nobody wants. There are no Pierre poilievre and screw the Conservatives merch or rallies. Like, it's just not a thing. Like, people do not dislike the Conservative Party and the masses the way they hate the Liberals and the NDP. For crying out loud, look at this sticker. Keep calm and never vote Liberal, which you can find the link for that below down in the description and get yourself a sticker pack that has one of these included. And if you use code SUNSHINE, you'll actually get 15% off, little known fact. But nonetheless, you don't have stickers like this and merchandise and rallies that are like anti-Pierre and anti-conservative because it's just not a thing. It's just not a thing. People don't care about that. They want to vote Pierre in. They want to vote the Conservatives in because they're fed up with this guy. Nobody is going to vote for Jagmeet Singh. He's going to have the all-time least amount of votes he has ever had because he is falling into the same trap that Justin Trudeau did, pandering to like children that are in adult bodies. That's who supports liberals. Just idiots, absolute idiots.
And the fact that if we saw a emboldened Netanyahu who was engaged in a campaign of violence and genocide against the people of Gaza, imagine what that's going to be under a Trump administration with even further supports to engage in that type of activity. I'm deeply worried about...
Bro, why aren't you deeply worried about Canadian issues? Why aren't you deeply worried about Canadians? We have homelessness like we've never seen before. We have people that are starving. We have people that can't pay their bills. And you're worried about shit happening in another side of the world? I get it. Have empathy, sure. But you're trying to focus all of your talking points and attention on international affairs that have nothing, zip, nada to do with Canada. That's not okay. You're a Canadian politician. Everything should be focusing on Canada, not other stuff. I do not understand this mentality. It's gross, and politicians in power should not have this type of mentality. They should not be globalists. They should be nationalists, focusing here on Canada.
About what this means across the world, the threats to people's lives, and the instability that this could cause. And I think it's more important than ever for Canada to work with our allies to ensure that we are bringing a voice for peace, for diplomacy, and continuing to call for a ceasefire and the release of hostages when it comes to Gaza, to continue to call for Ukraine to be able to defend itself against the aggressions of Russia, and to make sure that we are doing everything possible to create a peaceful future.
Can you clarify, though, will you cooperate with the Prime Minister if he asks for it? And can you clarify if he has asked for it?
No, there's not been any conversation. My goals are to defend Canadian jobs, to fight to defend Canadian interests, and to make sure that we are defending our values. I will work to ensure that that happens in any way possible.
Yeah, I just don't think that anyone believes him. I think that he's an absolute gross politician, and he is only serving himself. And he's a piece of garbage, and I cannot wait for the NDP to have no say in policies. None. I'm so ready and excited for a conservative majority government. Screw these people and their radical ideas.
Canadian jobs.
How challenging do you think it would be to repeat 2016 term all over again?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I think it's going to be really, really problematic. There's a lot of really challenging and problematic things that Mr. Trump has said, things that are going to cause deep fears for people around the world, but here in Canada as well. So I am worried. I'm worried about a potential future negotiation, or a pretty certain renegotiation of CUSMA, and the fact that that was very difficult previously. It's going to be very difficult again. I'm worried about the threats to Canadian jobs right now. I know that those tariff plans literally will mean Canadian jobs could be cut It could mean an increased cost for everything. And I'm worried about all those things. I think it's a deeply concerning time.
You're seeing Canadian jobs. What exactly does that mean from the NDP's perspective? What concrete action should we expect to see from your party?
Well, first you got to stand up and say that his plans are wrong. We got to make it very clear that Trump's plans are wrong, that an across-the-board tariff approach is hurtful to Canadian jobs, it's hurtful to Canadian workers, and it's also hurtful to Americans. And so we need to see a clear position on that, standing up and saying that's wrong. We need to have a plan. What is a plan of approach? Working with allies to come together, preparing our cases. If the Trump administration is going to bring in tariffs that potentially could violate trade agreements, let's prepare our case so that we can tackle that in court and defend Canadian jobs. But we got to take this seriously. Today is a day to get ready to fight, to protect Canada, to protect our jobs, to protect our values. Merci. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just an absolute piece of garbage. I got to say, man, like Justin Trudeau, I don't want to just let him off scot-free, whatever the hell the saying is. But I think that Justin Trudeau was groomed and indoctrinated into politics. His father was prime minister. He's been introduced into politics since he was a child. And there's like no doubt that he became a politician. That's like what he was in his entire existence was prepared for. And it's very likely that Justin Trudeau's son, as he grows older, will also be in politics or try to be in government, right? So that is like no fault of his own, but like at the same time, Justin Trudeau is a massive piece of garbage and his policies have just ruined people's lives. So that is his fault, but being a politician is not his fault. Jagmeet Singh chose this life. It did not choose him. That's the difference. And so Jagmeet Singh has knowingly been a piece of garbage his entire life. He chose to be a greasy politician. He chose to pander to dumb people with absolutely radical policies. He's choosing to hold 41 plus million Canadians hostage. He is the worst politician here in Canada. And I think that Jagmeet Singh deserves for the rest of his life to only eat cricket protein. But again, that's my personal opinion, and I would absolutely love to know yours. This is the end of the video, everybody. If you enjoyed it, I'd like to remind you guys to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.